Hello and welcome to Scholl Cinema. In this blockbuster, we're going to look at the different waxes and sealants in the Scholl Concepts lineup. Plus, we'll get some top tips from a leading pro detailer. And at the end of the show, I'll also reveal how you can get money off selected Scholl products sold today at Waxstock. So make sure you stick around. If you spend time lovingly polishing your paintwork, you also want to protect it so your hard work lasts for as long as possible. To achieve this, Scholl Concept has 5 different types of wax and sealant for you to choose from. What will work best depends on several important factors that you need to consider when making your selection. Before starting, ask yourself these questions. Do I need a fast result? What gloss and protection levels do I want to achieve? Am I applying the product by hand or by machine? Will I be working indoors or outdoors? And if outdoors, what are the likely weather conditions? To answer these, let's explore the solutions that Scholl Concepts provide. If speed is your biggest concern, then you need SW30 or SW20 to get yourself a fast result. S and W stand for speed and wax, and these spray-on wipe-off waxes will get you a showroom finish in seconds, perfect at events and competitions when an instant eye-catching shine is essential. Need greater protection? Then use a liquid wax. Both W6 Plus and W9 are a blend of natural carnauba with some synthetic ingredients. W6 Plus is ultra easy to apply, even on hot paint and dark colours. Now, you can use our black hand puck to wipe over the surface, then buff off. The result is an extreme gloss finish. W9 contains even higher levels of carnauba and a high-grade microfine abrasive powder. If you're a machine polisher, use it with the Scholl Concepts Orange Premium Pad and it'll eliminate swirls and holograms too. While EcoFix E-Wax is another great liquid option. Same high protection and gloss as W6 Plus, but it can also be applied by machine, this time with the soft EcoFix Black polishing pad. Hopefully that's added a shine to your knowledge of speed and liquid waxes. But now let's visit pro detailer Charles Dujardin at his Oxfordshire HQ to get some of those secret tips that really make a difference.
We always like to inspect the car. We're going around checking for any smart repairs that have been done on the car. If a blow-in has been done onto the car, the paint is a lot thinner, it can pull back and we can start causing ourselves an issue. You can use a paint depth gauge. I personally like to use my eye and go around and visually check the car so we know the canvas of the car and what we've got to deal with. Step one that I always go to firstly is I like to start with the wheels. So I will give the wheel a nice coating of some Rim 7. I let them dwell 3 to 4 minutes, agitate them slightly with a brush, and I'll wash that down. Then I'll then come back and do the back of the wheel, again by giving it a nice coating, let it dwell, use different longer brushes so I can get into the tighter areas. Rinse that down again, and I'll always have a bucket ready with some warm soapy water with a microfiber cloth that I can then get into the backs of the spokes and around all the other areas that are quite hard to get to with the brush. Once I've done that, and I'm always doing one wheel at a time, I do one wheel, rinse that on, when I'm happy I'll move on to the next wheel so we don't have products drying too much and cause a bit of an issue. Next step after I've done the wheels, I'll go in for giving the car a complete rinse down with a warm water from the pressure washer, and then I like to get a citrus degreaser all around the lower parts of the vehicle. Let that sit for 3 to 4 minutes, pressure washer that down. Then I'll pick up some nice all-purpose cleaner and I'll go around with a small brush into all the tight gaps around the badges, in the grills. I like to do that, you know, because there's actually a lot of dirt and build-up always gets into those areas that you can't necessarily just remove with a pressure washer safely. So, you know, we like to agitate with, you know, a bit of all-purpose cleaner to get that removed and then pressure washer that down before putting the snow foam on. And and the snow foam will then go in and dwell and pull out anything from the gaps that we haven't quite got with a brush, any bits of grit that can contaminate the wash mitt or the wash process. It could cause scratches. So once we've left that sit and we've rinsed that down, then we then start with the shampooing stage, which is again, you know, 2 buckets, a nice warm soapy water to a clean water, and we try to do a panel at a time, in with the mitt, starting from the top of the panel, working our way down, cleaning the mitt, and always constantly checking the mitt to make sure we haven't picked up any of the dirt or any grit that can cause any issues. With the claying process, I always like to start with a new clay. Some people, you know, you can reuse a clay, but personally I think it's always really important that the clay bar is completely clean, so a nice new one is always the best way to go, and also having the right size. You don't want something too big that you can't work with, so it needs to be, you know, a nice ideal size, which is, you know, a little ball in the palm of your hand. I always like to drop the clay into a warm bucket of water to make it nice and supple and easy to work with. That way it bends around the curvatures of the car a lot easier. When you're claying the surface, is always keeping a nice level hand on the car, and not applying too much pressure to one area of the clay bar, so keeping it nice and level. Always check the surface whilst you're claying, and constantly kneading into a nice fresh piece of the clay, and just checking that if you have picked up anything, you're not rubbing that over the car.
Interesting advice there from Charles, and we'll be back for more later. But now, let's pick up where we left off with waxes and sealants and take a look at a special multitasking polymer sealant and a drop of the hard stuff. Want the ultimate in hard wax protection? Enter the Rock and Vintage. High in Canuba, these 2 paste waxes offer exceptional durability and unrivaled brilliance. Vintage even topped Pro Detailer magazine's mega test with an incredible 95% gloss rating. As the name suggests, Vintage is ideal for classic cars and concourse level show cars, while the Rock is designed to enhance modern, exotic and tuned paintwork, including matte paints. Just apply it with a black hand puck or even massage it into the paintwork by hand. When you need a fast and easy to apply product, perhaps in unreliable weather conditions, then Neo is your answer. It's a multitasking polymeric gloss sealant that can be used on paint, glass, chrome, rubber and unpainted plastic parts, basically the entire car. It can be used on dry or wet surfaces and applied by hand with a Neo Honey Spider Puck, or with a dual action machine using the Neo Honey Spider Pad. There are also 2 compounds in the Scholl range that not only remove defects like a normal compound, but also protect the surface with a wax coating. For this all-in-one style, you can choose A15 Plus or EcoFix E all-in-one. With a complementary pad, these 2 medium cut compounds will remove heavy scratches and also protect and finish to a high to brilliant gloss in just 1 step. So whether you want speed, extreme gloss, flexibility of application or the ultimate in wax protection, Scholl Concepts has already created the perfect product for your needs. But remember, Scholl's entire wax and sealant range should be used sparingly because of their incredibly high quality formulations. This means you get outstanding results and have very little residue or wastage, saving you money in the process. You're probably all waxed out now. Well, let's move away from that area and find out what other gems of advice top pro detailer Charles has up his sleeve.
Right, so masking is a very important process of the machine stage. We mask for many different reasons. One, we like to protect the rubbers around the cars. They can be easily damaged with a pad. You can burn them, you can stain them, which makes the cleanup process after you've gone through the correction stage harder. So it's just generally like nice and neat and tidy, just mask up all these rubbers, just to prevent any damage happening to that. And then on the other side we have sharp edges on cars. With the way that the paint flows is always going to be a lot thinner in those areas. So if we're worrying about those parts of the car, we tend to use a bit of masking tape, a low tack masking tape like SP Green, and we'll mask those areas away whilst we're working close to them, so we haven't got to worry about, you know, burning through those paints or causing any damage. So once we've obviously prepared the paint and we've taped up, the next process that we're going to go into is go to looking at how we're going to be machining this car and what process we're going to use. It is very important that you choose the right combo. There's a lot of people out there that will dive straight in deep and get a really hard cutting head with a coarse compound, and you're removing paint that you don't necessarily need to remove. Sometimes defects aren't extremely deep, they could be just sitting on the surface. So what I tend to do is I'll look into the car, I've inspected it with a light, I'm thinking about what sort of finish we're going for, whether we're going for an enhancement, if we're going for a full correction. I'll pick a panel on the car, a small section, and I'll try different combos. So I'll try a lighter pad with a light compound, and then I'll see how the results that I'm achieving from that. So if I think that I need a bit more cut, then I'll go up again. So just going up the levels rather than starting up high and coming back down low. I like to start with the lower and then working my way up through the compounds. Once I've gone through and I've picked out the process and the combo I'm going to use, I'm going to start selecting the style of pad that I want to use. We can use the extreme edges, which are the backing plate is smaller and the face of the pad is bigger, so it's allowing us to get in tight without the risk of the machine hitting anywhere near the paint and causing damage. So we can get in much tighter around grills, badges, just the small tight areas that you can find on any modern supercar or high performance cars. We have different size machines. I personally like to start on a large panel with the smaller machine, like decorating. We like to cutting our edges first. We work around the edges with the smaller machine, and then once we've cut and got all those areas, you know, that I'm satisfied with, we'll then pick up the larger machine and start working into the middle, making sure, you know, the panel's perfect. We haven't gone anywhere too close with a larger machine that we can start causing any damage. We've selected our compounds, we know what heads we're going to be using, and now we're starting on the machine process. After every set of machine polishing, we like to degrease down afterwards. The reason why we're doing that is to remove any oils or lubricants that are left behind from the compounds, so we can see the true finish of the panel, so we're not constantly pushing more and more of those oils into any defects that could then fill the surface, and we're not seeing any swells, and we're thinking that the panel's now corrected.
Thanks, Charles. Some excellent tips there to help any budding detailer. And that concludes our show. But before you leave, I bet you want to know how to save money on Scholl products. Well, on your way out, collect the special Waxstock discount coupon from our Scholl Concepts representative, and it'll give you all the details you need to know. We hope you've enjoyed your visit to our Scholl Cinema and have gained some more detailing knowledge on how to get that perfect finish.